Yo, it's a light switch down here. Yo, I wish I'd have had my phone just not just take nothing like, you know what I'm saying? This is all you.
Oh yeah.
Yo, brother, man. I knew you wasn't. I knew you wasn't bullshitting when you did like when you told me about the thing in Harrisburg area. I knew you was for real.
I was true with this shit, bro. I go out. This all I got, man. It took me a long time to get out in the streets, but once I got out the streets, bro, I ain't got nothing else to offer to the world but my art, bro. I do this shit all the time. The whole house ain't nothing but a little gallery. But damn. Yeah, I was coming home the other day, man. Some lady car was stalled in traffic. I tried to get out and help her push the car, and wound up fucking my damn foot up.
So that's all you probably really be in. That's all you be in.
That's all I do, bro.
Keep you out the way, though.
That's it. I don't do shit. I go to work. I train my ass in the house, bro. I smoke weed and drink. I can't fuck around in the streets no more. Ain't nothing out there. This all I do, man. That's all I do. Whenever you want something, bro, I give you a good discount on any kind of art, man. You my homie now.
Yeah, that shit is nice, yo. For real.
And I got my little product, man. I designed this shit. I got a patent for it and everything. I'm just packing them up now. Simple project. Take two of these. Slide that shit in there. And put it together like this. And now you got a paintbrush over there. You lay all your paintbrushes across while you're working.
Yeah.
Paint like that. So I can just try to reach it something else. Someone else.
I definitely like this shit. Yo, bro, brother, man, that's definitely. People be talking about they do this shit. Nah, you definitely do this shit.
I try to, bro.
And you right here in the hood with it still. You ain't even left the hood yet. You left the hood, but you know what I mean?
Oh, it's a come up. It comes.
Yo, that shit, yo. We touch my wife this shit.
Next time y'all come through, man, you probably should get come in too. Smoke it up, have a drink or something.
Yeah, what's happening? Talking about your leg? Oh, you don't even know, really.
I know it happened Wednesday. It took me till fucking Friday to see a fucking doctor. And my doctor, they still, I had to go to the fucking ER. So they did it. They put the little temp cast on me at the ER. And I got an appointment. They said that the foot doctor should call me tomorrow or Tuesday. I'm going to have to get an ultrasound to really see. They said they can't really see no x-ray.
Yeah.
They said you get an ultrasound and see how bad the damage is. And I might just rock the cast for a couple months. Or they might have to cut me a little bit.
Yeah, like chill, bro. I'll let you know you really the thing. Yo, bro, you got skills, bro. Yeah, bro, shit, bro. Let me connect, bro. Keep going out, look.
Oh damn, boy, I forgot I got that live stream just now. Oh my god. Did y'all everybody saw that? Y'all ain't seen shit, man. Calm down. Y'all ain't seen shit. Ain't nothing happened. What's good? Alright, I'm trying to finish cooking my spicy chicken strips. Cause I'm hungry. I'll be back in here in 1 second. I need to turn this down music off from the job. All right, let's turn that off. Let's flip the camera around. Booyah! Now we in business. Now we is in business. I got the controller on the charger. I should bring down my the Bluetooth speaker so we can have something to listen to. Get this shit all set up. Here I come. Here I come. Here cooking for real. Got the flour. So this is a good question. A lot of people always ask. When you frying like chicken, do you season the meat or do you season the flour? Me personally, I season both of them motherfuckers. I put seasoning on my meat and I put seasoning in my flour. Cause I want to be able to taste my motherfucking seasonings. Oh my god. Damn, that shit's delicious. Well, I just did a little taste test. Hey, I wish I could share this shit with y'all. But oh well. Yes, sir. Ooh, ooh. God damn. Shit smell like motherfucking smell like lime. Got a little citrusy smell to it, but smell like honey a little bit too. You're like, what the fuck? That shit smell like honey lime. Sounds like a good ass drink, right? A honey lime liquor. Oh yeah. Now I gotta figure out what I'm gonna drink. I might have I might drink a I got some ginger ale in there, I think. here we go. Oh. So y'all can see up close my little late lunch, early dinner. Got here some chicken strips, spicy. I got some hot sauce with a little bit of barbecue sauce in that shit. Some crinkly fries with ketchup and mayonnaise. I don't know about that mayonnaise part. That's how the Europeans do it. It's a white people thing. Don't hate on it. So now, dang, I forgot to bring the speaker down so we can have something to listen to. Oh man. See, I put that Old Bay seasoning on my fries when I'm baking them. Damn, them shits be crazy. Mm-hmm. All right. Hey Alexa, can you play NPR for me?
WVIA radio from TuneIn.
That was the Symphony No. 3, Eroica, by Beethoven. Michael Tilson Thomas led the San Francisco Symphony. Michael Tilson Thomas and the Symphony have recorded the Eroica as part
That ain't loud
of
enough.
the score series for public television and DVD.
Hey Alexa, stop the radio, please. I need to go get that speaker. But the thing is, where is my Bluetooth speaker? I don't know if it's on the second floor or the third floor. Alright. Let me see if I can go find that speaker real quick. Well, not real quick, but you guys know what I meant. that's weird as fuck. Y'all can't find my, where the fuck is my Bose Bluetooth speaker at? Oh my god, it's here in the fucking kitchen. Jesus Christ. What the hell? I just walked all the way up to the 3rd floor for this thing. Man, oh man. Exercise. This shit right here. Shit slamming, son. Okay, why won't you connect?
Mobile device not found. Ready to pair.
Why won't this shit connect now?
Connected to FBI wiretap.
There it goes. Now we got a connection. This looks interesting.
Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, abbreviated DARPA, or the Office of Advanced Research Projects of the United States Department of Defense, was established in 1958, almost immediately after the launch of the USSR's Sputnik 1. The realization that the Soviets were about to launch not only satellites, but also missiles into space encouraged the United States government to take notice. The result was the creation of a unique agency with a huge budget, which could be spent at its own discretion. Check out our selection of the most unexpected, strange, and advanced projects in the field of technology and artificial intelligence from DARPA in this one video. DARPA's mission is to create innovative defense technologies. The agency's projects range from space-based missile shields to cyborg insects. At the same time, the internet, the first computer mouse, GPS, robot vacuum cleaners, and, for example, Siri were created. The uniqueness of DARPA is that by investing in the project, it does not seek to take a share in the capital, but only stimulate the development of technology and looks to where it will lead us. The first significant success of the agency was ARPANET, which laid the foundation of modern internet. In 1969, with the help of this computer network, the first message was transferred between computers in California and Stanford universities. Although then, only 2 of the 5 letters of the message managed to transfer. But on January 1st of 1983, the network became the first in the world to switch to data packet routing. As a routed protocol was developed by order of DARPA, the IP protocol, which is still basic for data transmission on the internet today. In 1964, Charles Rosen, head of the Stanford Research Institute Artificial Intelligence Center, proposed the creation of an intelligent automatic machine for the Advanced Research Department. The grant was approved, and it was assumed that the developed robot would be able to work as a scout or a patrol officer. This is how the Shaky robot came into being. According to the description, it could recognize its own environment, derive implicit facts from explicit ones, create plans, and recover from mistakes in a planned execution, and also understand orders written in plain English. The robot was equipped with video cameras, collision sensors, and a rangefinder. Communication with the control computer was carried out via radio. Shaky software architecture, computer vision, navigation, and planning techniques proved to be fundamental to robotics and web server development, video game creation, and Mars rovers. Autonomous robots, like self-driving vehicles, were one of the first and main goals of DARPA. To stimulate their development, the agency launched the Strategic Computing Initiative in the 1980s and allocated billions of dollars to it. The goal was to develop artificial intelligence techniques in multiple fields. Among the results, there are first autonomous cars and the first quadruple-legged walking robot by Boston Dynamics. Modern unmanned vehicles date back to a series of robotic races, which DARPA sponsored in the early 2000s to stimulate the development of this technology. And in 2004, out of all the applicants for the prize of $1 million, only one managed to pass a modest 12 kilometers of the planned 240-kilometer race. Later in 2005, the entire distance was able to be covered by 5 cars at once. In 2007, DARPA held another race, but this time with a prize of $2 million. The self-driving cars had to drive through the city, observing rules of the road, and interacting with each other at intersections. It was DARPA that sponsored the development of the first 4 Boston Dynamics Big Dog robots, presented in 2005. The robot, measuring 91 by 76 centimeters and weighing 110 kilograms, was able to move at speeds of 6.5 kilometers per hour and carry a load of 150 kilograms, as well as climbing a mountain with a slope at a 35-degree angle. The project cost DARPA $42 million, but was eventually closed because the robot was incredibly noisy. Nevertheless, Big Dog became the basis for the creation of both the Robot Spot and the Atlas robot. By the way, the robot was not the last development of Boston Dynamics for DARPA. All of the robots of the company, including those created for military purposes, we showed previously in a video. A link to that is now in the card above. Very unusual developments were and are among the agency's projects. For example, the Energy Autonomous Tactical Robot Program was aimed at creating robots that could feed on plants to independently replenish energy right where they would need to be working. Or the Engineering Living Materials Program, aimed at creating self-heating building materials with the development of 3D printing of organs and tissues. DARPA hopes to use similar technology to create hybrid materials that can form and support the growth of artificially created cells. These materials are able to be grown locally using already available resources. The Hybrid Insect Micro-Electro-Mechanical Systems Spy Beetle project in 2006 looked crazy. In 2009, the engineers even presented a prototype transmitter for cyborg insects. But judging by the fact that in 2018, the agency announced the beginning of the development of miniature robots to manage insects in the right quantities did not work. The new program Shrimp for short-ranged independent micro-robotic platforms, and the robots developed within it will be related to the smallest types of these mechanisms, just the size of insects. The robots will be fast and maneuverable enough to jump, fly, and lift objects and perform terrain analysis. And these will not be the only bio-inspired robots from DARPA. Recently, the agency announced that next year it will present a completely finished robot worm, which will be able to tunnel at speeds of 10 centimeters per second. For the Project Underminer project, $2.5 million has already been allocated. The tunnels will be needed to quickly create tactical paths when fighting in cities and megacities. One of the important projects of DARPA was the Systems-Based Neurotechnology for Emerging Therapies program, designed to create implantation, diagnostic, and therapeutic closed-cycle systems for the treatment of psychoneurological diseases. Essentially, the program wants to create a brain implant that will help soldiers fight post-traumatic stress disorder and other problems. Interestingly enough, when DARPA began working on the neurointerfaces, it said it would create a chip that would allow the military to control combat robots and drones with only the power of thought. One way or another, the work on the brain chip continues. Another key area of DARPA's project is the creation of robotic pilots and artificial intelligence capable of controlling aircrafts and helicopters, including combat ones. Thus, at the end of the year, the final test of the Alias technology on Sikorsky UH-60M Black Hawk helicopters are able to be held. The test program will have remote and autonomous missions. Alias systems consist of a robotic pilot voice interface and software. In order to install Alias on any Black Hawk from the U.S. Army's fleet, only LiDAR and cameras are needed. The Artificial Intelligence Training System, which in the future will be able to take control of a combat aircraft and conduct close air combat maneuvers developed by DARPA, is called the Air Combat Evolution. It was for its development that the recent neural network algorithms were tested with the Virtual Air Combat Alpha Dogfight trials. Remember, in the course of these, artificial intelligence managed to defeat a professional pilot of the U.S. Air Force with a crushing score of 5-0. The new neural network systems will have to control the fighter and flight faster and more efficiently than a man is capable of doing. It will be tested on a real plane in 2024. The preparation of the fighter for this event has already begun.
You got fucking
autonomous vehicle technology
planes
is of
coming
interest
for
to
people?
DARPA, not only in the air but also on water. Just the other day, the agency announced it was ready to conclude contracts for supply of long-range uncrewed ships in 3 private companies within the framework of the Sea Train program. The goal is to overcome the range limit for sea drones by reducing wave resistance. After overcoming the necessary distance, the drones will separate to perform their task and on the way back, form back into a train. Also, at the expense of drones, the U.S. intends to soon increase the number of its fleets to 355 ships. This was recently announced by the U.S. Defense Secretary Mark Esper. He also reported on the demonstration of a prototype underwater drone, Echo Voyager, from Boeing, and the Sea Hunter surface vehicle developed by DARPA. Apparently, they will join the ranks of the United States Navy. Another global goal of DARPA is the creation of swarm intelligence. That is the use of groups of robots to perform complex tasks. As a part of this project, researchers from Buffalo University recently received more than $300,000 to study the brain impulses and eye movements of gamers. The goal of this is to improve the organization and strategy of the autonomous air and ground robots through a new training method. These robots will be trained by an algorithm that should process the information collected by scientists, and it will help understand how gamers operate in some of the unexpected situations, what they pay attention to, and how they operate, and what these actions lead to. The research of robots is conducted by DARPA in 2 other directions. The first is the Offset Project, the development of software that will combine various ground robots and unmanned aircrafts into one group. The robots in the group must be able to solve 1 or more tasks together using more than 100 tactical options. The second direction is the Squad X project. It involves the introduction of drones, robots, and sensors on the battlefield to maximize a soldier's awareness of their current situation as well as other tasks. DARPA has already tested the program through a week-long exercise, during which United States Marines used drones and robots to coordinate their movement and detect potential threats in the field. The information from the sensors was processed by artificial intelligence systems and only then passed on to the military. This is probably how battle scenarios of the future are going to look. It's impossible not to mention that thanks to DARPA, the whole world was able to enjoy a spectacle of human-like robot races at the DARPA Robotics Challenge. Videos of the epic robot fails of various designs quickly became a hit on YouTube. And although it was very funny, we shouldn't forget to thank these types of events. Robotics are developing, and today we can see the results of this with smart robots like Atlas. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share this video with friends. And definitely do not miss any new releases from Pro Robots.
tank of shit. I might need
for your
leave the
best
lid
sleep
off
yet.
for a while and
Get
let
a
it
free
dry out a little
adjustable
bit.
base with the purchase of select mattresses. Plus, with free next day delivery, you'll be sleeping better
No thank
tomorrow.
you. No thank you, Raymore Flanagan. Appreciate it though.
So we're so deeply grateful that Ray is doing this for us. We first met Ray in 2013 when he attended Creative Innovation 2013, and he blew all our minds then. Over the years, we've stayed in touch, and I've been very fortunate to spend a lot of time with him and also attend the executive program at Singularity University, which I highly recommend. He's an incredibly special person. I think you all know his mind is extraordinary. He's created this talk today for us. It's brand new. No one in the world has seen it before. So I'm just going to read you his introduction. Ray Kurzweil is one of the world's leading inventors, thinkers and futurists with a 30-year track record of accurate predictions. Called the restless genius by the Wall Street Journal and the ultimate thinking machine by Forbes magazine, he was selected as one of the top entrepreneurs by Inc. magazine, which described him as the rightful heir to Thomas Edison. PBS selected him as one of the 16 revolutionaries who made America. Ray was the principal inventor of the first CCD flatbed scanner, the first Omnifont optical character recognition, the first print-to-speech reading machine for the blind, the first text-to-speech synthesizer, the first music synthesizer capable of recreating the grand piano and other orchestral instruments, and the first commercially marketed large vocabulary speech recognition. Amazing, isn't it? Among Ray's many honours, he received a Grammy Award for Outstanding Achievements in Music Technology. He is the recipient of the National Medal of Technology, was inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame, holds 21 honorary doctorates and honours from 3 US presidents. Ray has written 5 national best-selling books, including New York Times bestsellers, The Singularity is Near, written in 2005, and How to Create a Mind in 2012. He is co-founder and chancellor of Singularity University and a director of engineering at Google, heading up a team developing machine intelligence and natural language understanding. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a huge, enormous creative innovation welcome to Ray Kurzweil.
Well, it's great to be with you, Tanya. I spend a lot of time talking to different people around the world, and if I want someone who can really give me an insight into the future, I go to Tanya in Australia because she has really compatible vision that I have for what the future will bring. And so I'd like to talk about the future. That's something I've actually done for almost 40 years. And I'd like to actually give you an idea why my predictions generally seem to be accurate. If you go to how my predictions are faring, if you put in how my predictions are faring on the web, it will bring up a 150-page document that goes through the predictions I've made at different times over the last 20 years. So, for example, I made 147 predictions for 2009 in the late 1990s, and 86% of them were correct, and they were recorded in the age of spiritual machines, and I can explain why that is. So these are my predictions for the next 25 years. Any questions on any of this? Okay, I'll go through it a little more slowly. So, most of my predictions, when I make them, seemed unlikely or impossible. Now they just seem to be correct. People ignore the exponential nature of technological change. So their long-term predictions leave out the essence of change. People point out the fact that exponential change does not go on forever. So if you're exponential, it eventually comes to an asymptote. However, so that's an S-curve. However, we've seen that one S-curve leads to another S-curve. And this has happened already 4 times with computation. And we're already on the 6th paradigm, which is 3-dimensional growth of transistors. If you leave out the exponential, 30 changes gets you to 30, and that's why people in the long term leave out the usability of change. 30 doublings in an exponential gets you to 1 billion. That's what we've seen with electronics, and we'll see it soon with every other product. So this is where it started. In the 1980s, I realized that timing was critical to being an inventor. Thomas Edison, Larry Page, other inventors you've heard about, were in the right place with the right idea at the right time. Timing was critical for everything from making investments to romance. So I noted the speed of these processors, that is calculations per second per constant dollar, for all the computer processors up to that year. You see, going back to the early 20th century, the data forms a straight line on an exponential chart. And a straight line on an exponential chart is exponential growth. Note that this chart is not Moore's law. People look at this, oh, Moore's law, but this has to do with technologies before Moore's law came into being. Moore's law has to do with chips, not with these first 4 paradigms of computation. My own concept of exponential growth was not just limited to chips, but it's the basic idea of growth in technology, even before there was change directed by human life. Life itself took billions of years, whereas mammalian growth took only hundreds of millions, primates took only tens of millions of years, humanoids took only millions. As humans took over technology, this path went to technology. The printing press took centuries. Today we have new phases of technology in just a few years' time. So I put these computational technologies on a graph, which is this graph, and put it sort of on the left, and extended it, which has become the basis of my predictions. I expected future processors to be on this line, but this was done 45 years before these new computational technologies would happen. So what happened? 45 years.
You want to go help me do this shit, yo?
We go back, this is what I predicted.
How is my battery,
and this is what actually
the DualShock battery low in the shit?
This has been the basis of my predictions.
What are you talking about, PlayStation?
My
controller is plugged in and it's telling me the battery's low. Come on, man.
This is the core.
I like that.
The speed of the processor per constant dollar is right on the line that I projected decades earlier. Every other aspect of electronics is proceeding in the same way. And this is not just because the computational speed is greater.
Let's see if I can bag up like Kennedy Jones real quick.
We processed a few characters.
I'm saying bagging up that money.
Morse code.
Like crack, nigga. It's a different hustle.
Has multiplied 1 trillion-fold for the same cost. Now this is on a computational graph. It's a straight line, so it's exponential growth. The total number of bits shipped each year is basically doubling every year. So we can ship a better product each year for less money. That's deflation on the order of 50% per year. And it underlies every aspect of our technology, not just bits of memory. Even before we had electronics, we had this deflationary process that improved every aspect of life. However, people's understanding is the opposite of the actual progress. People think that things are getting worse, when the opposite is the case. This is a poll of 24,000 people in 23 countries. They were asked whether extreme poverty has gotten better or worse over the past 20 years. 70% thought it had gotten worse. Only 12% thought it had gotten better. The reality is that poverty had actually decreased by 50%, which was the prediction of only 1% of the people who responded. So I have many dozens of slides showing progress on every aspect of human behavior in the last decades and the last centuries. Let me just share a few of them. Here, these circles are countries, and this is the state of the world in 1800. So, life expectancy on the y-axis was in the 30s. So life expectancy was in the 30s of years, even in the wealthy countries. Income per person in today's dollars is in the hundreds of dollars per year, shown in today's
Yo, who wants to help me do this shit?
Even in the wealthy countries, it was hundreds of dollars that you tried to live on in a year. So let's see what happened over the next century. There's a little bit of...
The human brain can't build a computer smarter than itself. This is a valid point. This is a valid point, but there may be evidence to the contrary or speculation to the contrary where, see, what they're trying, they're not trying to build an AI anymore. We already have AIs. Hey Alexa, what's the temperature?
Right now, it's 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Tonight, expect a low of 51 degrees.
That's artificial intelligence. That's an AI. That is a legit AI. But it's a closed loop AI. It's an artificial intelligence. It can recognize human speech pattern, dialogue, give you an answer, but all this shit is pre-programmed into it. It's not like coming up with this shit out of the blue. All these algorithms are pre-programmed into the artificial intelligence. Now what they're trying to create now is a artificial general intelligence. Once you add the general in there, and so they don't have to create a computer that's as smart as a human. All they have to do is to create an algorithm that can learn similar to the way a human learns. So we don't have to make it smarter than us. We can give it the ability to learn, and it will become smarter itself, and to the point where it will be able to do so many calculations in a minute that it will be essentially smarter than a human. But it will be a different type of intelligence, though. But it's still an AI, though. It's a form of all of it. Google Assistant, Alexis, Siri, like all those are closed loop artificial intelligence. Now once they're able to, and now they have this thing called neural nets, and they're trying to they're trying to make computers really smart and then have layers of them shits. And so that they work in tandem, very similar to the way that we work in tandem, where we can, I don't know, the human brain is like the most complicated thing ever, because I can just catch this like it's nothing. But the fucking physics, the timing, everything, the muscle movement, nerves, everything that's involved for me to just fucking catch this shit out of the fucking air. Like for the brain to do that shit in milliseconds. It's goddamn amazing, yo. And then just for physical functions, but then to be able to contemplate and create and imagine new ideas. Like, that shit is something that they can't make, but maybe they can create something that is able to learn how to do that. According to the human brain. This is true. And are we actually getting smarter? No, we are gradually learning stuff. And so a person with a PhD in physics today, he's just standing on the backs of, 2,000 years of research and study that's already been done. So are you smarter than these people before, or are you just have access to all the compiled knowledge and information at one time? And that's where they're gonna fuck up at, yo, because like you say, we can't really make ourselves smarter. So we're gonna try to make something that's smarter than we are to help us solve our problems and all the issues of global warming, terrorism, and the wealth gap, world hunger. Like, we need a computer to give us those answers. We need to create a God. If you guys are on social media, you on my social media, and man, y'all need to go share my product. We trying to get paid over here. You know what I'm saying? We trying to get paid over here. Go share this shit, man, and tell them your boy Travis got them goods. I got them art supplies, nigga. What you do today? Bag up that work. Bag up that work, yo. $20 a pop. If my homegirl comes over today, I'm definitely gonna ask her to help me make a fucking Etsy page, cause she's all over on that fucking computer shit. I need to get better at this computer shit. Does a dog understand that humans are smarter? That's a very good question. I don't know. I wouldn't begin to assume that I know the mind of a dog. I can't even assume I would know what a dog thinks. It seems like the canine species will always subject themselves to what they assume is the alpha male or the leader of the pack. Henceforth, it's easy for us to domesticate them and for us to give them orders instead of giving us orders. You tell your dog to sit, stay, roll over, fetch. Your dog doesn't tell you that shit. Well, I guess your dog does give you orders sometimes, because I had an in-house dog, and that motherfucker would tell me when she need to go to the bathroom, and she would come and tell me, like, you can tell in her mannerisms and her motions, like, she's like, hey, I need your attention. Look. And she looks at you, then she looks at the door and goes to the door and comes back and then goes to the door. She's like, I need to go outside. And so I guess in a way, but I don't know. Does a dog understanding a human is smarter? I don't know. And they say, but even in that situation, the dog knows that it needs the human's assistance in order to get out the fucking house too. Like, oh shit, son of a bitch! I forgot to put the little slat tab in there. Yeah, but like, are they really orders though? I think if animals were as smart as we are, they wouldn't allow themselves to be pets and to be in zoos and shit. I just don't. Why doesn't it seem to straighten out like that? There it goes. I just don't see like someone willingly wanting to be imprisoned or a servant to someone as a plaything. Like, if a horse was as strong as you is, you think you could really get a horse to just let you ride that motherfucker? This is a big, strong ass fucking animal, man. Horses are fucking huge. That motherfucker wouldn't just let you ride his ass. But that's why you gotta break them and tame them and all that other shit. Cause most wild animals don't want that shit anyway. Even dogs. And if dogs really didn't, I mean, if dogs really were as smart as we are, yo, you think you can keep a dog in your house as a pet? Motherfucker will maul you to death. Almost any dog. That shit. That's the second time I forgot to put the little, because I don't know, I'm gonna come up with another image for this thing eventually as well, but I mean, when you just look at it, it's like what the fuck is that? What the fuck is this? And so what I'm putting inside the package is actually, this is from my patent. So this is one of the images from my patent design. And so I figured, like, if this is in the sleeve with it, you can at least know that, hey, it's supposed to look like this when you put it together. Don't try to put the two short pieces together. You put the short pieces at the ends and the long pieces at the sides. And that's what this is. And so in each pack, I'm putting that in there. And of course, you know where this shit was made at. So I got some made in the US stickers because I'm very proud of that. Because I honestly was thinking about getting my shit made in China, nigga. China got them prices, boy. China man be like, how much you need? Okay, $3. $3, word. Let me get 1,000. Yeah, the China man said, I'll make that shit. How many? But I was like, you know what? I looked for some American companies first. And yeah, so this shit is made in fucking Connecticut. The plastic sleeves come from Maine. And these made in US stickers, they're probably made in China. And I don't know where this is made at. But it's... The fuck was that? Oh, my speaker? You don't want to say? Y'all know this shit already probably made in China or Taiwan somewhere. But I try to keep my shit in America. I gotta look at the box. But almost any electronics, you test this shit out in your house, yo, in your own house. Anything that has power in it, an electronic that you have to turn on, that you can plug in or power up or takes a battery. Well, damn near all that shit made in China. Anything that uses electricity or power, boy, we don't make none of that shit no more. That shit be amazing. You can pick up fucking anything in your house, yo, and see if that shit is made in America. I guarantee you, man, the numbers will be fucking staggering, yo. You probably got 1 or 2 American-made products in your house, and anything else that take power or electricity, man, we don't make that shit no more. That's why I don't be surprised that anything you plug in, it don't say it, but I guarantee you, like, this shit probably ain't even made in America, yo. It's a sad times, man, sad times. And because we invest in data and information, yo, since the fucking 90s. That's where we've been putting all our fucking money at, Silicon Valley and shit like that. All the manufacturing, most of the manufacturing jobs and shit's been gone, and they still ain't coming back. Still not coming back. I gotta find a better way to do this. Cause my bags, they want my bag to be wrinkly, man. It's all about presentation, son. You got the wrinkly, he got the bags. They ain't want to smoke your shit if your bag is wrinkled. You know what I'm saying? They gonna talk shit about your product. I know this too, like, a lot of people don't want to buy this shit from me. They don't want to buy it from me, yo. It's weird as shit. Like, ooh, where can I get it? I'm like, yo, just cash at me or PayPal me the fucking money and I'll send it to you. You ain't got no Etsy or nothing? What's the fucking difference? It'll still be me going onto my Etsy account and then fucking putting your shit in the mail. What's the fucking difference? Just PayPal me the goddamn money and I'll send you this fucking product. It's I mean, I get it. They want to have like some kind of receipt trail or digital trail. Like, that's what the fuck PayPal is. Motherfuckers can clearly see that if I accepted your payment on PayPal or not. But I don't know, like 3 people asked for these shits and they was like, well, where do I order it? I'm like, from me. You're asking me. You're in the process of ordering one now. Well, let me know when you have your site up. I'm like, all right. And I had a website for a while, but I don't know. I don't take care of that shit because I don't like doing that fucking computer shit, yo. I need like a staff. I need somebody to manage. My social media, my art emails, and my online stores and all that shit. Cause I don't be fooling with all that shit, man. Y'all better be lucky I took my time and energy to even have these things fucking made. You know what I'm saying? You know how much all this shit costs? Like I say, man, between getting a patent for this shit and actually having all this shit motherfucking printed up and then buying all this other shit, man, this is thousands of dollars. This is thousands of dollars. You know why? Because I love art and I think motherfuckers need this shit. Once you get it, once you look at it and it's like, it looks kind of cool, maybe. But once you get this shit and use it, you're going to be like, yo, I cannot live without this shit. It's going to change your life as an artist, yo. You know why? I can't even imagine painting without this shit now. Because when I paint, I use more than one brush at a time. And I don't want to, if I got one brush that got brown paint on it, I just rather keep the brown paint on that brush until I'm done with the brown. But right now, maybe I need red or yellow. I can just still set my brush down and it's not disturbed. I can come back and pick that shit up. It's so easy, man. So easy. Once you get it, you're like, how did I ever live without this thing? How was I just calling myself an artist and I ain't never had a brush holder? You know, I got a brush holder. Now I feel artistic, man. You know, I know some of y'all feel autistic, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with that. And that SpongeBob voice, like 10 years later, still have the whole box of these shit sitting right here because nobody never invested in it. Like I tried to invest in it. But oh well. Hey, a motherfucker won't say I ain't tried. That's the thing. You don't know what gonna happen. Man, I was gonna do this thing one time. Man, I remember I had this chance to do that. Why the fuck you ain't do it? Oh, cause well, you know, excuses. I shoulda, coulda, woulda. Excuses. Don't make excuses, man. Don't make excuses. Make a plan. Somebody want to help me do this? I pay you $1.50 per bag. You know what I'm saying? You ain't doing nothing but sitting around chilling. You got free weed, free drinks. All you gotta do is bag them up, man. Every time you do one, $1.50. Come on. No takers? Damn. Y'all some tough critics, man. That's why the Mexicans take all y'all jobs. You know what I'm saying? That's why they take all. I go find me a Mexican right now. How much I say? $150? Oh shit. I get to sit down all day? Man, shit. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I was gonna try to do 10. This is going pretty quick though. I might do 20. Word. I know you'll come through and help your boy out, boo. Ain't even no question about it. I already know. But I know you for so long. I wouldn't pay you though, bro. Look, man, I just cooked something to eat. You better go fix you a plate, nigga. You still got free weed and free drinks. Come on, man. We known each other too long, man. Now I'll pay you too, man. Alright. I'm thinking like, should I pre-cut the bags? Approximately how long are the bags? So This is one that I messed up. And I had to cut the top of it off. So if I make a bag that's about that long, if I make a bag that's about this long, I wonder if I can like fold it. Cause it ain't gotta be perfect. It just gotta be close. Fold it. I don't know, that'll start getting jumbled up. I would have to measure it going out to start with. So try to find an easier way, guys. There always gotta be an easier way, man. You know what I'm saying? Easy money. But it's some of the easiest money I ever made right here. No, I ain't gonna lie. I did that talk on Friday morning, like a little virtual artist talk for brunch. Now that was easy money, bro. I get paid to talk about myself. Bro, I never thought that I would live to ever see days like this, where motherfuckers pay me a substantial amount of money to talk about myself. Like, that shit still amazes me, man. I'm fucking amazed at that shit, yo. You have no idea. I amaze myself sometimes. Just thinking in my head, like, nigga, they is paying you to talk about yourself. That's pretty good. Never thought I had an opportunity. I sure appreciate it, every moment of it. We should do this more often. You know what I'm saying? To be honest, we should definitely get together and, you know, I'll talk about myself for money. You know? Or let's see, I could try to figure out like a way for me to actually like have these bags already sectioned out like this, because it's just much easier. And so if I get a marker, if I like actually measure one of them and get a marker, and then I can just mark a whole section of them, like where I should place it at on the heating rod or sealer, I guess. Impact sealer, impulse sealer, or whatever. It's not looking bad, guys. This shit is looking kind of professional over here. You know what I'm saying? Even though I'm using some hand scissors to cut these things, hey, we all gotta make a way, y'all. All gotta make a way. And ain't but 100 of them. So it ain't like, if I had somebody else to help me, man, this shit'd be over with so quick. Motherfucker made like $150 real quick. Or if we do it together, like $75. But damn, that's still a lot of money, man. You just sit here and bag up this work for $75? Shit. You know what? I'm thinking, is there a way I can pay myself by doing this? Huh? How can I work that out? I need to make that $1.50 per bag. I guess I gotta tax some niggas on it, man. I ain't think about this part, yo. You know what I'm saying? That's why I try to keep the price of this thing so low. All I want is $20 for this shit. That's it. 20. But damn, I'm putting a lot of work into this thing. Then I'm gonna get some tags. They got my name on it and staple it to the top so it have like a little white tag on the top, something like this. I think I need to make it bigger though. Here's my damn, and my laptop is upstairs in the studio. Oi. Yeah, I got a different kind of paper, yo. Like, it's like a cardboard stock paper, I think. But I really do think it's at my job, yo. I might have to go to the office and grab that shit. But after all of them are bagged up, I figure I can just take the tags and just pop, and pop all the tags on them at once. But it just needs to be wider. And then that way you can have your little hole puncher like that and hang that shit on the shelf in the art store. It's nice, right? I might actually make that the front. Some packages may come with a little bit of marijuana included, just out of the nature of the environment. Because I just saw some crumbs on there. What the heck, bro? Gotta be more professional. All right, so me pre-cutting those work pretty easy. Let me see how long I need these things to be real quick. Oi. Well, it's actually however long this piece is, and then plus an extra, like an extra 2 inches. I know I'm trying to measure the bag itself. Alright, so I need about 18 inches. So, damn it, man. I'm telling you, man, I need a fucking assistant, yo. So every 18 inches, or so, close to it. She ain't gotta be perfect, bro. She ain't gotta be perfect. You know what I'm saying? It ain't gotta be straight. It just gotta look straight. Alright, let me see if this method is going to actually work. It should, right? It seems simple enough, right? So I think that was 5, maybe. And then should I seal them and then cut them? Or should I seal them and slide them in there and then cut it off like I was doing the first time? Let's see. What is going to be the easiest way? So if it's right about here, I hope that ink doesn't actually mess up the heat or the sealing of it. I doubt it. It's just a little ink mark. And see, if I had a partner while I'm doing this right here, somebody can be cutting off the other ends, bagging them up. Teamwork, man. Damn. I see a good little assistant and get this shit done in like no time. But nah, because I ain't got no fucking friends in real life. You know? Gotta keep that circle small, niggas, so, hey, that way you can enjoy all the wealth. Oh, I helped him do this, I helped him. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Don't even start to lie. Sometimes you just gotta do it yourself. Bad homies are real. Oh, that what that noise was? I fucked that up. Oh, I was pulling it while I was going down. Wow, wait a minute. That might be something. I might be on to something like that. Nope. I don't think that's gonna work too good, but I actually tugged on it by accident while it was still trying to seal. But at the same time, it kind of like helped me cut the straight edge while the plastic was still hot. Interesting. Alright, so we got a whole oh shit. A pre-sealed sleeve right here. I don't forget what we were listening to. Oh, we were listening to Ray Kurzweil. So let's see how quick I can get these in the sleeve.
Connected to FBI wiretap.
Movements from the course,
FBI
technological
wiretap disconnected.
revolution,
Ready to pair.
but not much is happening until we get to the 20th century, in which all of these circles, all of
Connected
these
to
countries
FBI
will be
wiretap.
on the right-hand corner of the graph. And while there's still a country gap between richest and poorest, the poorest countries are actually far better off than the richest countries were at the beginning of this process. So I'll just go through a few of these rates that define human quality. And by the way, people think things are
I
getting
don't
worse.
like that. That seems a little
In every
too short.
single aspect. They get better by century and better by decade.
Yeah, that seems kind of short.
Including just
I don't
in
know.
recent
There might be
years.
enough room to seal it still.
Here's literacy rates by country going back to the 15th century. U.S. education expenses per capita.
I still don't have enough
$1,000
plastic at the
since
top where I can
1949. Whenever you
staple
see
that
reference to
other part onto.
Currency, it's today's dollars, not the dollars then. The number of years of education for different countries since 1870. Electricity in homes for the US and the world since 1900. US and world households with computers from 1984 to present. So this is life expectancy at birth and at year one. Now year one shows life expectancy.
Alright, so maybe I
with a
should
high rate
measure
of
it
death
for 19
near birth
inches.
removed. It only adds about 7 years at first. So life expectancy in 1841
Oh my god, then I
is
sealed
only
it and
about
forgot
40
to put the
years
shit
from
in there
birth
again.
and 47 years at year one.
Why do I keep doing that?
Decline in poverty rates worldwide since 1820. Decline in extreme poverty across different areas. This is US GDP per capita in constant dollars. We're definitely getting richer. This is the average of GDP per person in constant dollars for personal income from 1929.
Yeah, but
This is
shit costs
interesting.
more
This
now.
is the average income per hour actually earned by each person in the United States in constant dollars since 1929. It just goes up. This is in today's dollars. So we hear a lot of reporting that average income per hour has stabilized. It's not going up, but that's obviously not the case. Our work week has gone down. It shot up slightly after the Great Depression, but it's continued to go down since then. This is one consequence of increased automation. I'll come back to increased automation in a moment. Decline of child labor in the world since 2000. So obviously any child labor is not desirable, and the fact that it's greater than zero is not positive. I'm not saying everything is perfect, but everything is moving in the right direction. Homicide rates in Western Europe since 1300. You didn't want to live in 1300. We have an exponential growth of renewable energy. It's double. Now this is renewable energy that will replace fossil fuels. It's increasing. It's actually increasing at an exponential rate. It's doubling every 4 years. So it should reach 100% by the early 2030s. The growth rate for solar energy is higher. Oh, and by the way, when we reach 100%, we'll only be using 1 part in 10,000 of all the sunlight that hits the Earth. So it's not like we're going up and we're hitting 90%. We're hitting 1 part in 10,000. So another important issue, spread of democracy. It was very small, maybe a century ago. Really began with the Gutenberg printing press, beginning to distribute information to people, continued through the 20th century with radio, TV, and computers. It's now up to 50%. Again, it's not perfect. We'd like it to be 100%, but it's definitely moving in the right direction. So this is really a comment on employment and what's going to happen to employment. So if I were back in 1800, I would point out that 80% of the workforce in 1800 worked with farm labor. So if you were working at all in 1800, you were doing something with farm labor. That's now 2% today. And you can see it's just gone down to about 2%. We've had a similar trend with manufacturing labor, going from 25% in 1920 to 9% today. Yet, overall labor has gone from 26 million in 1900 to over 140 million today. So despite the fact that these, basically the type of employment that everybody had went from 80% to 2%, we've actually increased the amount of labor from 26 million to 140 million, from 31% of the workforce to 44% of the population today. 65% of American workers deal with information in jobs that would not be recognizable in 1900. For example, web designer, app developer, IT engineer, and so on. If I were to say at the end of the 19th century that 20 million people would be studying poetry and quantum mechanics by the beginning of the 21st century, that would seem absurd to a country that had only 65,000 college students in 1870. It's the same thing in Australia. Yet that is what happened with 20 million college students today, comparable amount in Australia, plus another 10 million who service them. We'll begin to create new jobs that we cannot imagine today, and also create new forms of being productive as college students studying poetry and quantum mechanics are considered today. Now, I mentioned we've seen great deflation in electronics and related products, and that's certainly true of your phone. And if you imagine what a phone was like 8 years ago, it's much more expensive and did very little. And we haven't, well, we have seen that in many areas of non-electronic products, but over the next decade, we're going to see deflationary trends, not just in electronics, but in commodities like food, with AI-controlled vertical agriculture, as seen here. We'll see deflation in building costs and routine products as 3D printing becomes prevalent, deflation in energy as renewable energy sources become the norm, and deflation in food production with vertical agriculture producing food products. Now, imagine what this will mean, because we have already a gross domestic product that's really part of our welfare. This is the gross domestic product for different countries. In the United States, this is percentage of GDP. Our GDP is actually greater. So we actually spend more than some of the socialist countries in Europe. It's the same thing with Australia, pretty much keeps track with the United States. As prices for food and other necessities of life come down, this will be enough for most people's life's needs by the 2030s. It's not quite there yet. I mean, if you have to live on this kind of welfare, it's you can manage, and it's much better than it was a century ago, but it actually will be very enough for most people's life's needs as we get to the 2030s, and certainly by the end of the 2030s.
It took you that long to say enough?
Here's the expenditures for the U.S. total social safety net spending. So it started out almost at zero. It's gone up steadily. It just goes up, and the percentage of GDP also rises with it. I think you'd have a hard time finding a period that represents left-wing social spending versus right-wing conservatism here. I mean, try to find where you see that. It basically just goes up. The real inflationary, deflationary trend, which is hidden, is extreme deflation of all products caused by the deflation of electronics. So this amount of social safety net, even ignoring future increases, which will happen, will be enough for most people to live quite well in the 2030s. This would be a whole lecture. In fact, I do have a whole lecture on it. But the deflation in DNA sequencing costs has enabled biotechnology. And that's what really brought biotechnology to the fore. Decoding the first genome cost $1 billion. Now it costs about $1,000. And we are finding genetic
Indians. They study the Africans, our ancestors.
Changes that overcome the burdens of biology. For example, immunotherapy for cancer. And this is now being used at an increasing amount. Immunotherapy for cancers, where a patient's blood cells are treated outside of the body, they're re-injected into the patient, and then light up that person's own immune system to fight their specific type of cancer. This is personalized medicine. It's far less invasive than traditional treatments and provides far more promise for patient safety. There have been a number of tests where every single person, including stage 4 cancers, have obtained complete remissions. And there's a lot more to come from biotechnology over the next decade. So moving to the brain, our ability to image the brain, both destructive and non-destructive brain imaging, is constantly getting better. We can now see individual nerve cells forming in real time with non-destructive imaging. As a result, we're able to form a realistic idea of how our brains work. And I described this in my last book, How to Create a Mind. At first, it was thought that the interconnections, if I want to create a connection from this axon to this dendrite, was a huge mess. But we were not scanning it with enough resolution. It was too low. Now that we're scanning it with high resolution, what we see is that all axons are already connected with other axons. And when two axons want to remain connected, the interconnections are made permanent. Now, I talk a lot about the neocortex. The neocortex is something that came with mammalian animals 200 million years ago, started with mice, and the neocortex has gotten more sophisticated as we've gone through the past 200 million years. In fact, we had 65 million years ago the Cretaceous extinction event, where suddenly we think it has to do with a meteor. The dinosaurs died then, and that's when the neocortex became prominent for mammalians. And then mammalians grew larger, their brains grew bigger, and they became really dominant in terms of intelligent life on Earth. The neocortex is the outermost layer of the brain. It's thin, essentially a two-dimensional structure. It's about as thick as a napkin with intricate folds, with deep ridges, grooves, wrinkles that increase its surface area to be the bulk of the human brain. It's responsible for our ability to deal with patterns of information in a hierarchical fashion.
All right, I'm gonna do this last stretch right here,
of the
and then I'm gonna take a break.
neocortex. There are many dozens of them, and as you go up, all the levels are actually processing
This thing takes longer
simultaneously.
than I thought it
As
would.
you go up through the different levels, each level adds some concept as to what we're perceiving. So here you can see the different levels add an understanding of what words are doing on a page. If you go up another 20 levels, you'd have axons that decide whether this passage is ironic or funny or deceitful. So this is actually a young girl. She was 16. She was actually having brain surgery, and the surgeons wanted her to be conscious and react to her experience. So whenever they had touched the axons here, shown in red, she would laugh. They first thought she's having some laugh reflex, but they quickly discovered that no, she was actually perceiving humor only when they touched these points. They had touched the points that detected humor, and she found everything hilarious. "You guys are so funny just standing around," was a typical comment. They had found the points that actually detect humor. And this has been done in other experiments with other high-level axons, such as detecting irony, for example. Now, this is a simple neural net. It's organized as a single level. It emerged in the 1960s. In 1962, when I was 14, I visited Dr. Rosenblatt at Cornell. He was pushing something called the perceptron. It was really the first neural net that got attention. And it was a computer model that could recognize shapes. So it could recognize written letters, or figure out the vowels for a sound, or learn certain types of concepts. So I came to Cornell in 1962 with various letter shapes, and I would hold up the letter shapes to the visual perception box of the perceptron, and it worked on a few, but most did not work. He said to me, and this is actually quite significant, if we were to create a perceptron with multiple layers, not just one, it would overcome the vagaries that a perceptron could not deal with. So I also had a mentor at MIT. 1969, he wrote a book called Perceptrons with Seymour Papert, and it proved that a perceptron could not solve something called the connectedness problem. So basically, if you have a shape that's all connected, that's connected. If you have a shape that's, let's say, something here and something here, that's not connected. Fairly simple problem. And he proved that a perceptron could not solve whether or not a shape was connected or not. The book was so successful that all funding for connectedness was cut for the next 25 years. However, the theorem really only proved that a single level perceptron could not solve the problem. And he actually regretted this. Multi-level perceptrons could do that. And everybody was using multi-level perceptrons by the time you got to this century. Shortly before he died a few years ago, and this is 50 years after these interactions, Minsky acknowledged that the neural nets were indeed a very promising road ahead. And indeed, that is the primary road that we're following now. Rosenblatt's concept was indeed very prescient, because he had never done a multi-level perceptron before, and yet he figured out that this would actually solve the problem. And that not only would it solve the problem, but it would ultimately solve problems that humans are unable to do. So it's now 60 years after the introduction of the perceptron. It's only recently, I mean like the last couple of years, that we have now achieved a computational density that can support neural nets for a human level ability. But it actually goes way past human levels. Now this graph, it looks like my other graph, it goes up over time, but it's not, the doubling time is not 1 year. The doubling time here is 3.5 months. This is where we take a neural net model and see how much computational ability is required to do that. And we've basically been doubling the amount of computation in a neural net every 3.5 months. So it's, the speed has increased 300,000-fold since 2012. So consider AlphaZero. This came a little over a year ago from DeepMind, Google subsidiary. It taught itself Go with only the Go rules. It was not given any moves by humans. Its performance is way past the best human. You take the very best humans, it can't be close to AlphaZero. But that's not the most significant thing about AlphaZero. We've had other times, 1997, we had an IBM computer that defeated the best Go player, the best chess player. But that computer could only do that. And every other computer that's won a game has only been devoted to that one type of game. Here, the very same neural net, when given the rules of chess, went way past every human with only a few hours of training, and also every other chess machine. It's also done a number of other things. Now you might think that it can only do board games, but actually it can actually do really just about anything. It was asked to master protein folding, but that's not a board game. In biology, we have all these cells. The cells put out a chain of amino acids, and they're in a straight line. In a magic moment of biology, this linear sequence of amino acids folds up into a unique three-dimensional shape. So this is a key thing in biology, and to try to predict what that three-dimensional shape would be is very, very demanding. A few people have learned it. This very same neural net that learned Go and learned chess and learned other things taught itself protein folding and was way ahead of the best humans at predicting protein folding. The best humans got 3 shapes predicted out of 99. AlphaZero got 43 out of 99. So this actually will be extremely valuable in creating new proteins for medications. What is clear from these examples is that a neural net can master concepts if you have the latest neural nets. That's the result of 60 years of increase in computation. That's far greater than the very best human. So if we have a comparison showing, let's say, how one shape, let's say a radiology exam, is portrayed as a diagnosis, and if we have millions of examples of that, which we do, it can master that far better than any human. In fact, everything that humans can do is explained by these types of examples. Some will require some navigation to find because they're not always written down. We might have to actually monitor the world to find what those things are. But over the next few years, we'll have these nets explore everything intelligent that humans can do. And even if we learn ideas from other humans and there's no text to guide us, these bots will be able to track that information as well. AI is also making progress in natural language. If you have Gmail, you'll notice that it provides an intelligent response, giving 3 choices for your next email. That choice is actually provided by my team at Google. We've also put the same capability in something called Talk to Books. So if you go to Google and just put in Talk to Books, you'll get the link. And then you go to that link, and you can ask any question you want. And the software will read all of 120,000 books. It actually reads all of 120,000 books in a second. It's 500 million sentences. And in a second, gives you the best answer from the 120,000 books based on the meaning of your question and the responses. So you can try that out. There are tests where you can read a paragraph and then answer questions about your understanding of the paragraph. You've probably taken this if you've been in grade school. About 6 years ago, AI computers were challenging the 3rd grade test. Today, they are exceeding the average adult score on the adult test. I believe that in 2029, it's another 10 years, and we already have these types of models that can do this. AI will pass the Turing test. With the increasing computation and increasing mastery of every human skill, we'll have both. The Turing test that can master...
All right, the Turing test was actually a science fiction term that came from the guy who wrote Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? Or no? Am I getting that wrong? Anyway, the Turing test is for a human being to have a conversation with an artificial intelligence and not be able to tell that it's an artificial intelligence. The conversation needs to be so organic and so fluent that you literally think you're talking to another person. And machines can't do that, yes. And that's the Turing test. And once a machine can pass the Turing test, they feel like that will be that next aha breakthrough moment. Alright, was that the last one? Yeah. But that, I always think that should be crazy as fuck too, where like you can't tell you're talking to a fucking robot or an AI. I just got one more set sitting up here, so I might as well just do this set. And the phone turned off. Shit. Yeah, so I'm having an issue with my car radio. I installed a new head unit. Like, my car is older and it didn't have a GPS system in it, so I had one installed. Like the touchscreen navigation thingy. And the unit that I had put in, it says it supports screen mirroring or mirror casting or whatever that shit is. So you can see what's on your phone on the display screen in the car. And I cannot get that feature to work for nothing, yo. I cannot, find out how to make that shit connect. It's so aggravating. So I have quite a few of those packaged up. Just turn this shit off. Alright. I feel like I've been productive, you know? That productivity. That's the name of the game, man.
Human responses, which is what the Turing test is about, as well as an AI that can master every human skill in every definable area, going way past humans. So what happens then? People's imagination imply that it will be humans versus AIs. We see that in dystopian movies of the future. But that is not how we've used technology thus far. We've used it to amplify our own capabilities. For example, try building the building that you're in. It'd be very hard to do with your bare muscles, but we have machines that go way past our muscles. And so with those machines, we're able to build a great structure. Now, we will use the increasing strength of non-biological thinking to extend our own thinking. We'll actually do this today with devices, but these will eventually go inside our heads. So my scenario is that at the top level of our neocortex, we'll extend, we will connect with extenders that access the web. Now, I mentioned that there are multiple layers of the neocortex, but the layers are not like this. They're actually like a pyramid. And the very top level detects the things that are most sophisticated, like irony and humor and so on. that's the level that we want to extend to add new concepts. So it's the top layer that needs to be extended. We would then have a combination of our natural intelligence with the supernormal intelligence that we are creating. So this is in the 2030s. We're already more intelligent than we were before we had our brain extended. That's today. We already have all of human knowledge at our fingertips. As we get into the 2030s, we'll proceed at an ultra-fast pace of extending our capabilities. So I've thought about how can I present these ideas in a way that will resonate with everyone, young and old. So I thought about a compelling story of a young person who uses her intelligence and accelerating technologies to take on the most difficult problems confronting the human race. So Danielle is the name of my character. She's a remarkable character who does what every talented, ambitious person wants to do. She takes action and changes the world for the better. In my view, this novel, which I'm actually releasing in 2 weeks, is a thought experiment as to what would happen if there were a Danielle in the world. So this is the novel, and it has the novel in it, but it also has a couple of other things. It's more than a work of fiction. It's a vision, a parallel history, a roadmap for readers of all ages. It includes the ideas that I've articulated at the beginning of my lecture, but also a lot more. In the literary first, the novel actually comes with 2 companion nonfiction books also written by me. And those nonfiction books are actually on the web. If you go to danielleworld.com, you'll find the entire 2 nonfiction books available there. But they're also in this book. One is called How You Can Be a Danielle. And in this book, they're pretty heavy. It's a chronicle of ideas, which is 280 essays.
Pen up there. Just got another order. if I keep checking my messages. You never know which one of these messages is on order. All right. Hey, these things are selling. I said I sold a few of them. So.
On the ideas in the book. So, A Chronicle of Ideas, it's a nonfiction guide to the scientific, technological, medical, entrepreneurial, political, historical, literary, musical, philosophical, and psychological ideas that animate the world of Danielle. The entries offer provocative insights into my inspiration and thinking on diverse ideas, from string theory to Jimi Hendrix to Alice in Wonderland. And the nonfiction books also includes How You Can Be a Danielle, which provides pragmatic, thought-provoking, clear ideas to action on how readers can be like Danielle and help bring about a better world. And the novel includes 24 color illustrations by a New Yorker cartoonist and my daughter, Amy Kurzweil. It's one for each year of her life. And here Danielle shows her sister her book at age 1. She's not yet speaking, but she will speak. And my idea is actually for everyone to become Danielles, to read the book, to read how you can be a Danielle, and it's, in one way or another, help bring about a better world for everybody else. Thank you very much.
Ray Kurzweil, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Ray. Thank you very much. Michael Pope, I'm been emceeing this conference, and I'll ask Tanya to join me as well. Thank you so much for presenting that. First thing, just for a clarification, are you coming from your studio in Boston or Alpha Centauri? Just not sure exactly where you are.
We're outside Boston, yeah.
Right, cool. Tanya, would you like to start?
Yeah,
with some
so
questions?
thank you so much, Ray. It's lovely to see you and have you here. And I wanted to, the first question actually, so I've actually read Danielle, and for any of you that have daughters and sons, indeed, it's not just a book for girls, is it, Ray?
It's not just for girls, and it's not just for boys, it's also for grown-ups. I'd say it's from maybe 10 to 110. And I've actually had people at those different ages reading it.
Can I ask you, you said to 110. Are we going to live to 110 as a standard or even longer? Are we going to live forever, right?
Well, we're addressing the things that cut short our lives. There's about 7 things I could point out that limit our lives to like 120, not that we actually get that far. But all of those are actually addressable. We're actually addressing things like cancer and heart disease before we get to that. And we're going to ultimately pass our ideas on to non-biological intelligence, which will work with us, and so we'll actually be able to back ourselves up. As you go further and further in time, we'll be able to live really longer and longer. So I wouldn't say it's forever, but it might seem that way. But then people say, well, aren't we going to get bored if we live that long? We're doing the same things over and over again. And I actually think that's true. We would get bored if we lived a very long time, if we had radical life expansion without radical life extension. So we're going to be doing things like virtual reality, as the previous speaker just spoke about, and a lot of other things that will enhance our minds. Right now, we have about 10 to the 14th calculations per second in our brain. We're actually going to expand that. So we're going to live a much more enhanced life as well as extended life.
So just going back to the Danielle book for a moment. So I highly recommend this book. Like,
All right, I think I might have a little drink to drink. What y'all guys say? Have a little drink? I might go back in the studio tonight. Yeah, I think I might play the fucking video game. What game should I play? If y'all bored and ain't got shit to do, man, I'm gonna stop the stream and I'm gonna start up another stream on the video. I hope they change that on the PS5 where you don't have to stop your stream to change shit. Like, I'm doing a live stream of my living room, but now if I want to stream a video game, I gotta stop this stream so that the game can load and start the stream back over. But that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna stop this stream, I'm gonna fix me a drink, and I'm gonna load up I don't know, which one should I play, yo? Call of Duty or Ghost Recon? Ghost Recon, I'll play like the story mode, like single player mode on that shit, and just try to complete some missions. But if I play Call of Duty, you already know that's just like team deathmatch and all that dumb shit. So what y'all think? Play a online game or a single player game? I like both of them, yo. They added some new content to the Ghost Recon game. That's why I started back playing that, because I already beat all the main missions. But they're trying to keep it updated, yo, and keep it fresh and keep adding. They had the Terminator saga in that shit. Then they give you some missions with Sam Fisher. And now you got this whole other cartel that tried to move into the island. And so now you got to take this other boss and his group of guys out. And so it's a whole nother set of missions that you get to do. But what do you guys think? No suggestions at all? Nobody cares? Alright, let's load up some Ghost Recon then. Or do I want to play Ghost Recon? See, now I gotta choose for myself. You know what? Fuck that. I'm gonna play Call of Duty. If I gotta choose for myself. I'm gonna start up a Call of Duty. Damn. I'm going to start up a Call of Duty stream next. I don't know why it's so fucking hard for me to say that shit just now. Alright, I'll be right back, guys.